Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another
it!
one!
Oladipo!
Another one! Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three, and
He hit it!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard another day of Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Thursday. That means we've made it almost through the week. But man, oh man, is it going to be another hot one out there? Holy cow! But that's nothing. Saturday and Sunday are going to be Chamber of Commerce days with temperatures in the low 80s, no humidity. It sounds wonderful, doesn't it? It is. It will be. It'll be glorious. But then guess what? I look down the like the 10-day after that. It looks ugly. As a matter of fact, now Saturday is looking the high of 79. Just glorious. Sunshine, 84 on Sunday. Monday will start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This thing keeps jumping around on me. 1, 2, 3. God. About 8, 10 days straight of 90-degree temperatures. Get ready, baby. It's here. How you doing? Looking forward to another great day as always. Rick Bozich will be joining us today. Chris Denari, and former Indiana basketball player turned Indiana high school basketball coach, Sharon Wilkerson. Been on with us many times before. Looking forward to talking to Sherron. Just one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet. I mean, you talk about someone who just did a great 180 in life, and I just love having conversations with him. He's a great guy, and he is gone from a very small school at Madison Shaw, a little private school, to Madison High School, up to, I think it was it Logansport? Anyway, and his next stop, and now he's at Jeffersonville High School. Big school. His high school, his alma mater. Very former Knight player. Very cool. Looking forward to talking to him as well. How's everybody else doing? Hope you're having a great day. Don't forget to, we're brought to you by our good friends from the Wow Club. Make sure you go to your Apple App Store, or Google Play Store, and sign up for the Wow Club today. It's the only mobile app you'll need. You can start earning dining dollars and specials, VIP events, invites. They are an IU athletics sponsor and support those who support you. Also, don't forget the Jordan Hulls golf outing that is coming up. That is on June 23rd. If I can copy that. Yeah. If you can't play, which you'd be missing out, you can still donate. But it's only get a team together. Trying to put that on there right now. Boom, boom. There you go. So you can enter, donate, or become a whole sponsor at this link that if you're watching, you can see that. But if you're listening, it's eventbrite.com/e/never-lose-hope. That's just too much. You can also just go to the other one. But you can find all that stuff at the top of the Hoosier.com's boards. Be a whole sponsor. It's only $100. Let's support this cause. Never Lose Hoop, raising money for area kids with cancer. But enter a team. It's going to be a blast. Tons of IU presence there. The coaches, of course, will be there. Football, basketball, former players, probably some current players afterwards or after the event during dinner and whatnot, because they have a camp that day. But yep, jump on that. How's everybody else doing? How's your day going? What are you doing when it gets this hot? I mean, seriously, legitimately, it just, whoo. Oh, the NHA finals are going on. Yeah. How about some of our NHL guys? I watched some of that game last night, and I saw the Avalanche score, I think, their third goal. They were up 3-1. In hockey, that's a pretty good lead in hockey. Well, daggone if that game didn't go to overtime. 4-3. The Lightning come back to tie it. But they lose in overtime. So, yeah, that could be fun. NHL Finals could be fun one, as Tampa Bay looking for a three-peat. How can a team from Florida be winning hockey titles? Isn't that crazy? Lots of people jumping in on the Andy Moore Honda hotline already. Dwayne, Forrest, Michael, Tim, Steve, Ross. Feel free to do so as well. Appreciate all your comments. And don't forget to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Please subscribe and hit the like button. What are your weekend plans? The U.S. Open underway today. Right now. I saw the coverage for the U.S. Open today began at 6:35 a.m. And I'm like, wow, they're getting after it. Up in Brookline, near Boston. So, lots going on. It's going to be a beautiful weekend, and I plan to enjoy it because it looks like I'm going to be hibernating next week. Let's see. The IBCA Top 100 is this weekend as well, up in Brownsburg at Brownsburg High School, just east of Indianapolis. So you've got that going on, which is nice. How many people are I know not people, a lot of people watch hockey even for the NHL finals. But I think I'm going to, because that seemed kind of fun last night. Speaking of the U.S. Open, you've got the storyline there is the LIV guys integrating. The war between the PGA and the LIV. Roy McIlroy coming off of a win. Justin Thomas coming off of a recent win. Dustin Johnson. What would it? Oh man, what would it? How much? What a gut punch would it be if one of the LIVers won the U.S. Open? How about that? That would not make the PGA very happy, would it? The likelihood of that happening is not very. I don't see Phil winning it. Dustin Johnson, probably their only chance. DeChambeau is not going to do it, nor will Patrick Reed, who, again, I think they made the right decision. They were disliked already, but we'll talk a little bit more about this in the next segment. Jeff Schroeder, the golf pro from the Golf Club at Eagle Point, will join us. We'll talk about that. I was talking to him about that yesterday, but some fun stuff. What else is going on with everybody else? What are your plans? What are you looking forward to? What NBA finals? Got that going on. Man, do they stretch that thing out. But Boston, I'm telling you, Boston had a chance to win that's an NBA title, and I think that they've lost it, man. They had the opportunity to go up 3-1 and let the Warriors get back into that game, not only get back and then win it and then win another game, and so give them back-to-back wins and a series lead of 3-2. I don't see Boston winning I don't see Boston winning the next 2 games personally, but that's just my take. Everybody else jumping on. Mike, Donald, jumping on the hotline as well, sending in your comments. Appreciate you guys. Looking forward to talking to Mitchell Page tomorrow. Tomorrow's lineup, Dylan Sin joins us to co-host. Alec Lasley will be here. We'll talk about the IBCA, Indiana Basketball Coaches Association, Top 100 Showcase that's this weekend, and everything else that's going on, update on recruiting, as well as Zach Osterman from the Indy Star will be here, and Mitchell Page coming on. We're going to just have some fun. It's just going to be a fun segment with Mitchell. But Jeff Schroeder got to come up in the next segment, the PGA Pro from the Golf Club at Eagle Point. Talk a little bit about the U.S. Open. Because that gets started today. And I know this might surprise you, but I missed the cut to make it. I think I was in that first line, but didn't quite happen. We got to take a break. When we come back, Jeff Schroeder, the head golf pro from the Golf Club at Eagle Point, will join us. Back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point studios, brought to you by our good friends at Andy Moore Honda and the Wow Club. Make sure you go to your Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Sign up today. Start earning dining dollars. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Jeff Schroeder.
What up, Jimmy?
How you doing, brother?
Good, man. How about you?
Long time no see.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of the Open, actually, when you text me.
Well, I'm getting ready to pop it on.
It's on Peacock.
I played. Oh, it is?
Yeah, live.
Everything's on the streaming service nowadays.
Crap. I got ESPN Plus.
What is it that you were watching on that last time? Was it the Masters?
No, it was the most recent major. Whatever. I think it was with Justin
PGA.
Thomas one. Yeah.
The PGA.
Daggone it. Peacock. Do you have to buy the Peacock?
Yeah, it's like $4.99 a month or something.
Yeah, they're all $4.99 a month. They try to $4.99 a month you to death.
Well, you get to watch all the IndyCar races too if you like racing.
Yeah, gee whiz.
We're gonna have to take an inventory of our streaming and decide which ones we actually want because
I got to find out what I'm paying for. What I got so much crap now. I don't even know. Who's leading? Am I leading?
Let's see. Right now, Colin Morikawa is leading at -2.
I would stop, take a picture of the leaderboard. That's what I would pull a Lee Corso. Back in, I should save this for on air. I will, but I'll save that. But yeah, man, it's gonna be warm out there. I played 3 holes yesterday.
Did you melt?
Nah, I just played the 3 and got out.
Yeah.
Well, I was up at the driving range first.
Yeah. Another smoking day with got play in the morning and nothing in the afternoon.
Dude, did you see the forecast next week?
Yeah, 100 on Tuesday.
Like 10 straight days of 90s.
That's not good for this business.
It's not good for the course or the business, no.
Yeah. That is true.
Well, we can talk about ways to play in the heat, though.
Ways to play in the heat. That's true. Like everybody, play early in the morning.
Well, not everybody can't do that, so
then you got to start looking at your alternatives.
you got the coat towels that they sell there in the pro shop, right?
The cooling towels. Need to stay hydrated.
30 seconds. All right, here we go.
TheHoosier.com is where you can find complete coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and plenty more. Simply go to TheHoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back on this Thursday. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. And speaking of that, the head golf pro, PGA pro, Jeff Schroeder joins us now. Jeffrey, how are you, sir?
Doing good, Jim. How about yourself?
Cannot complain. Went out and played 3 holes yesterday. Got 3 complete holes in. Actually, that's not true. I did not complete the 3rd one. I said that's enough. It was on the 18, and I'm like, I'm going to see a friend who lived right there. So that was all. Warm out there, but U.S. Open underway, man, up in Brookline. Starts today. Big-time tournament, and big, I guess the biggest storyline of this is the LIVers against the PGAers. I wonder what that's going to be like in the clubhouse.
From what I've heard or read, through some of the blogs and so forth, there's just a couple guys that they're kind of putting off. It sounds like, it's a little touchy, Kevin Na and I think Grayson Murray have been getting into it, and supposedly somebody put their lockers right next to each other. So, yeah, it's I don't know, Jim Gallagher Jr. played on tour for a number of years, a good friend of mine, and he has a podcast, and I was kind of listening to some of it last night, and his take on the LIV golf and so forth, and there's a side to it that some of these guys that may not, that may be called journeymen their entire life, it's game changing for them. It sets them up financially for them and their family, for their whole career. So, and then the other side of it is, okay, where's the money coming from? And is this really what you want to be a part of?
I said in regards to like Patrick DeChambeau or Patrick Reed and Bryson DeChambeau, smartest decision they've ever made. They just made more money than they will ever dream of making on tour or in the United States combined with endorsements, because they're not getting hardly any endorsements. Nobody likes them, and no one likes them on tour. So they made a great decision. I think they're smart. Give me $200 million. You can dislike me. And as far as where the money's coming from, I really am not on that same side with everybody, because I think it's just so hypocritical of what's going on. I saw this the other day. The largest arms dealer in the world to Saudi Arabia is the United States. So, and you can go back and do other things. So I just find it a little weird. And then I think it was you that told me yesterday, the European tour is they're like, no, you guys can go play. We don't care.
Well, that's their stance right now. That's it could change after this event's over. But I think the European Tour, their product, it's a good product. I'm not saying anything bad, but it doesn't have that branding that the PGA Tour has, like you said, that power, that political power, or whatever you want to call it. They wield a big stick. So the European Tour, I think, needs to be a little bit careful because they don't want to alienate the players that play in some of their bigger events.
I guess at the end of the day, though, it would take a few more big-time stars, I think, from the PGA to defect for it to matter, because right now it hasn't mattered. They're losing a couple of guys they don't care about. One guy that's like, Dustin Johnson, like, oh well. But unless they lose a Tiger Woods, Justin Thomas, those kinds of guys,
that's not going to happen.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Tiger turned down like $750 million to join that.
And Justin Thomas is not going to leave because he's basically Tiger's protege, whatever. So there's allegiances probably being formed on the PGA Tour side that say, hey, we all need to band together. If we do, we're going to get a better deal from the tour, hopefully. Not saying that's going to happen. That's just a kind of a different perspective. It's my feeling is, I've played professional golf for 30 some odd years. I like to go play where I want to play. And I don't want somebody to say, hey, you can't go play there.
Yeah. We'll see how it turns out. It's just, I think it'll find its level like everything else does. It usually does. We've been talking about this heat that's coming up. Well, it's kind of here now, but then a great weekend to come out. The golf course here is in excellent shape, by the way. It began last year, really, really just turned into great shape. But heat, man, what are the problems that heat causes a golf course that players need to look out for?
Well, I don't know. Well, player-wise, everything you can do to keep that golf cart on the cart path so you're not, running the cart constantly either in the fairway or the rough, because, the grass is, it's kind of a weak spot right now with this heat. So, the more we can use the cart path, the better the grass is going to be in the fairways and in the rough. I mean, Chad Moritz, our superintendent, does a fantastic job, and he's right on top of it. So, he doesn't enjoy these 100-degree days or these 90-degree days. But, I mean, the golf course is in really good shape right now. And, the heart of a golf course is an irrigation system. So, we've got one that we're continually kind of fine-tuning or whatever you want to call it. But, that's, water management during dry times is the key to it. You can't overwater. If you go out there and just start pounding water to it, you're going to kill your grass. It'll die. So overwatering is a big thing. And then golfers too, they need to understand, that if you start feeling bad, you need to come in, and keep those cooling towels. We sell a couple of them here in the golf shop, and, make sure you got plenty of water with you and stay hydrated, obviously, and seek some shade when you can. So, we want people to come out and play, but it certainly does it puts a little damper on our play. And, Father's Day weekends this weekend, we got plenty of tee times available for Sunday. So, and the temperatures, I think, are going to subside a little bit this weekend. They're going to be maybe in the middle to lower 80s, so we're maybe not have this oppressive heat that we've had the last, 4 days.
The cold towel, I am a firm believer of that. Keep that thing in a cooler of ice and water, and you pull that sucker out and you wrap around your neck, right around your carotid artery. That's what helps cool you down, people. And tons of water. I'm a big fan of the Kroger, the ice drinks. You've seen those? Are in the tall things. I drink those things like they're going out of style.
Oh, the sparkling water or whatever.
It is. It's something like that. Very much so. Rusty wants to make sure you start him off on hole 11, by the way, Rusty Jones. Tonight is men's league out here at the golf club at Eagle Point. So, and with the heat, you get a little less play probably, which is helpful to the golf course, but you can still get out here. I mean, I played some holes yesterday in the late in the day, and there was a little breeze, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It depends a lot on the humidity.
Yeah, it's like you, Jim, like you have what we call a platinum membership out here. So on days like that, you come out and play 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. You don't have to worry about paying or anything like that. So if people ask, what's the advantage to buying a membership to a golf course or a season pass, that's one of the advantages on days like today or this week. You come out, play 3 or 4 holes. Obviously, if you can't get a tee time early in the morning, just come out and play a few holes. Body in motion stays in motion.
Hey, exercise is the cool thing. Speaking of that, you guys, do you have any specials going on right now? Are there any weekly specials, any membership specials?
We don't have anything per se going on right now. We can always prorate a membership over the course of the year. But we did that anniversary membership and it expires at this year. And we're hoping to come out with something at the end of this year that will kind of be something similar to it. It won't be exactly the same, but there'll be something coming out here from Eagle Point.
Yeah, that anniversary membership was hugely popular, and a lot of people jumped on that. So looking forward to that. What are some of the events that are coming up here? They're one that I close to my heart. I know the Never Lose Hoop Jordan Hulls Golf Scramble is here on June 23rd. That is a Thursday. So this will be a great time. If you guys want to play, you can. John, throw that banner up again for me. But I'll throw the links up as well. But this is a great opportunity, man, to play with on a fun golf course and with a lot of people from the IU staff, former players, all that good stuff. But it's going to be a great day. Then you top it off with a nice dinner from Psalm's Restaurant. I think it's going to be Italian. I can't remember. I think it is Italian. You can take it down now, John.
Yeah.
So, but that's just going to be a fun day. And that's another thing that you can do out here is have just a complete fun day events, right?
Yep, sure can. Yeah. Actually, we got an event tomorrow. Bloomington North, I believe it's their football club, is having an outing to fundraiser. So they'll be here tomorrow. And then, like you said, we got the Never Lose Hoop Foundation outing the following week. So, we got a few things in the fire going on here. So everything's kind of rocking out here.
And you host some events, I believe, for like tournaments for whether it's high school. Don't they play some of their matches out here at times?
Well, no, we don't per se have a high school team that calls this their home course or whatever, but we do have an Indiana Junior Tour golf event coming up in July, which will have about 80 to 90 junior golfers from across the state, different age groups. They'll be doing tee times, so it's nice to have them back down here and kind of showcase the golf course to different folks from across the state.
And then, of course, my game. If you're familiar with my game, I was shocked that I did not make the cut for the U.S. Open. And Jeff can attest to that. I am just, as Mike Woodson said, where were we? We were on our first video press conference with Mike Woodson, and I had seen him golfing the weekend before, and someone had asked him, well, what's your golfing skills like? He said, well, basically, when you're looking at me, you're looking at Tiger Woods. And he was kidding, but yeah, that would be my joke as well. Who's your pick to win the U.S. Open?
I don't know. I got that little DraftKings app, so last night I threw a couple flyers in there. I don't know. I think you're probably going to have one of the top 10 players in the world they're going to be battling it out there on Sunday, but I think you're going to see maybe, I shouldn't say a lesser known, but, U.S. Open golf courses, they can be kind of tricky and quirky, and in that certain players play them really good when they get on really, really difficult golf courses where you don't have to shoot, 20 under. These guys always seem to be at the top. I mean, guys like former Open winner like a Webb Simpson and so forth. But Kevin Kisner, he drives the ball straight, putts it pretty good. Different guys like that they show up here in these major events.
Is this the second hardest tournament of the majors because of how they set these courses up? I mean, I remember last year there was a green. I just started laughing. The putt was like I call it a toilet bowl putt. You had to hit it, and it had this complete circular flushing motion down to the hole. These are always set up so ungodly difficult. But is this? The other one would possibly be the Open, but is this usually the second toughest major?
Yeah, this is the one where setups, the tournament setup can get away from them. I remember they had the Women's U.S. Open at the Country Club of Indianapolis back in, I think it was 1977 or 78, and I happened to work out there for a longtime friend of our family's, Larry Bianco, and the USGA came in there, and I think this event was in July. Well, Indiana weather, July can get pretty dicey. Well, they decided they wanted these greens really fast, and they shaved them down pretty good. And then they got some really heavy rain. And then what happened was these greens kind of baked out, and they were about an hour or two away from just checking out completely. So the second green there sat up kind of in a hillside. And when we went out and looked at it during the fourth round, I mean, it looked like a burnt pizza pie with the splotches of grass looked like pepperoni. So yeah, the setup can get away, and this kind of drives some. That's why these players that are very patient and have a great demeanor, that's why they're always in it at the U.S. Open, because they know that they're going to get a bad lie. They know they're going to hit a shot that doesn't reward them, and that's how these guys become elite players. Is their demeanor and the way they get around a golf course is the key for their victories.
Maybe that's why I don't win. Just, hey, looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting out there maybe today. You can certainly show up at the golf club at Eagle Point and play. It's open to the public. One of the highest rated public golf courses around in this area, in the Bloomington area for certain, located right on Lake Monroe. So it's a beautiful setting as well. Got dinner. You got Psalms Restaurant, which is undergoing a renovation right now, which they're only, 2 weeks, a week away from completing that as well. So all kinds of stuff going on out at the golf club at Eagle Point. So get out there and check it out and play around and join in one of our tournaments coming up. Cannot thank you enough, Jeff. Appreciate you, brother. And you got lessons you can get as well.
Yeah. We're getting busy on the lesson tee. So give us a call. Hey, don't forget it's Father's Day weekend. So, get Dad a gift, whether it be a gift card to play around the golf or some merchandise, something. But we got tee times available Sunday, and weather's going to be better according to it right now.
It's going to be beautiful.
So,
it's going to be beautiful.
Come out and see us, please.
And let me tell you, there's nothing Dad can use more than golf lessons. I guarantee you I can say this to 95% of the dads and be correct. And that would include me. So I'm going to have to get up there and see Jeff. Trust me. But look forward to it, man. Thank you so much, Jeff.
All right, Jim. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Jeff Schroeder, head PGA pro at the golf club at Eagle Point Studios, joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Up next, Rick Bozich from WDRB.com, Hall of Fame writer. Plenty more. Back with it. Brought to you by our good friends at Southern Stone Restaurant, located at the corner of Patterson and Rogers here in Bloomington. Southern food with comfort food with Southern charm. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
The sun is out. Thank you, sir. That was perfect.
You got it, man. Thank you for having me on, Jim. Appreciate it. Anytime.
Always and anytime, man. Like I said, anytime that something's coming up, I forget sometimes. So just throw out a reminder. I know Colin loves it, and I never mind doing it. I've been trying to get little Eddie on forever. It's futile. Well, have a good one, buddy. Thank you, sir.
Man. Thanks. I appreciate it. I'll see you.
Bet.
Bye.
You betcha. Hello, Mr. Rick.
Hi, Jim. Who's Jeff Schroeder?
Jeff Schroeder is the head golf pro at the golf club at Eagle Point.
Okay.
I just figured with the U.S. Open underway.
Right.
To have a little
Today,
talk
right?
about it.
Starts today?
Yeah, they've already started, actually. It's underway. It is underway.
Are there any IU golfers involved?
No. Well, I mean, you know what? That's actually, I don't know the answer to that question because I'd have to look back because the Open has so many people in it.
Right.
What is today? Gee whiz. I cannot believe it's this late into June.
Yep. 2 more weeks. It's already 140 degrees.
And how about that?
That's not good.
I don't think we've had this kind of heat this early in the past 2 to 3 years.
We haven't.
Like this is coming.
Nope.
And I feel like when we have gotten it recently, it's only lasted a few days, and it's not this elongated as it is right now.
Right. Can't be good for golf courses, right? Don't they have to water more?
Yeah, it's bad. Just people driving on the dried out grass and hitting it, not growing back fast enough.
All right, here we go.
It's the Certified Dream Deal Sales Event. Get 0.99% APR financing for well-qualified buyers on all 2017 through 2021 Honda Certified pre-owned Accords, Civics, CRVs, HRVs, and Pilots. See dealer for financing deals. Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Thursday, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on reaching into the week. Joined now by our good friend Rick Bozich, Hall of Fame writer from WDRB.com. Make sure you give him a follow there. Rick, before we get into anything fun, I'm not a big bettor, and I've never bet on baseball in my life. I have to talk to Pete Rose, but I was trying to think when I do bet, I'd like to bet like a 3-team parlay, like football or basketball, and just if it hits, they pay really nice. And baseball, I've come up with this system. I think that you take either Detroit, the Reds, the Nationals, or Kansas City to lose, and you just run that parlay of 3. You pick 3 of those teams and just keep doing it over and over, because I think you're going to end up making money. I look at just last night alone, your White Sox have found the salve they need with a 13-0 victory over Detroit. Arizona beat the Reds 7-4. Atlanta beat the Nationals 8-2. So that would have been a successful parlay right there. KC kind of would have screwed it up. They won 3-2 over San Francisco, but those are the 4 worst teams in all of baseball. And I'm like, why would you just not bet a 3-team parlay over and over and over? I would think that eventually I'm going to have to get a betting guy on to talk about that.
Well, I mean, I guess it's as long as you can just bet them straight up and not have to, I don't know how I don't bet baseball, so I don't know whether you.
I don't either. I've never bet a baseball. Yeah. I don't know how.
Yeah, the Tigers for sure. I know yesterday, even after the game, the manager They pitched a position player the last 3 innings of the game. That's how bad they are. I mean, they threw Roger Clemens' son, who's like a rookie first baseman. He pitched 1 inning, and Tucker Barnhart, who used to be on the Reds, he pitched the 9th inning, and another guy pitched
from Brownsburg.
Yeah,
Tucker Barnhart from Brownsburg High School, where the IBCA coach top 100 goes on this weekend.
So I think. Did you see?
Oh gosh, who is the catcher for the Cardinals?
Molina.
Yadier Molina. Did you see him pitch last week and get a strikeout?
Yeah, I did. We throwing him like 39 miles an hour.
I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I can hit that ball today, I think. Yeah, his first pitch, I think, was in the 40s.
It was in the low 40s, I think, yeah.
And the second pitch was in the 50s. And then the strikeout that it was actually a swinging strikeout was like 73 miles an hour. And I'm like, how? I can't remember. Who was he pitching to? Was it a pitcher?
I don't think so, because pitchers aren't hitting anymore. The National League's gotten rid of the DH.
Oh, I'm like, who? Yadier Molina, on top of it, is like, what is he, like 106 years old? He's been in the league for 70 years.
His last season, he and Wayne Holes are all going out together this year.
He gets a strikeout. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's it was great. It was funny, fun stuff to watch. How about your White Sox? Are they coming around?
Nah, they just played the Tigers 3 games, so I wouldn't get carried away. They play the Astros this weekend. That'll be a fairer test of how much they've improved. And the Astros dominated them last year in the playoffs. They got other kind of issues, a bunch of injured players, and everybody's piling on Tony La Russa, and it's been the least enjoyable White Sox season in many years.
And that's saying something, right?
Yeah, I mean, expectations were they were supposed to win the division easily, and they're in 3rd place, not only behind the Twins, but they're also behind the Indians.
The good thing is they play in a Central Division, and they're only 5 games back. Both Central Divisions are just the worst divisions in all of sports, I think. The National League even worse. But they're only 5 games back. You get on a roll, it happens, especially in that division. I mean, you've got the leader is they're a little better. They're 569 winning percentage, so they're over 500, but not a lot.
Who's that? The Twins?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Twins have been one of the surprise teams in baseball. So, yeah, it's the NL Central. Although, I mean, the Brewers and Cardinals are both pretty good. So it's just 2 good teams and 3 bad teams. When the AL Central, it's 1 decent team, 2 mediocre teams, and 2 awful teams. I mean, the Tigers and the Royals are bad.
The Brewers just went on the Brewers, the Pirates, and the Cubs, as of yesterday, had gone 3 for 27.
They were all 1-9. I saw. Did the Brewers finally win again yesterday?
Yeah, they did. They're 2-8 now in their last 10. And I'm surprised on how horribly the Pirates' record is against interdivisional opponents. They're 10-22. Yeah, not good. But the Cardinals, I don't know who's going to come out of that one. Cardinals and Brewers fight, but the Reds, at least the Reds are not the worst team in baseball.
They've battled back from that.
Actually, they're like the 4th. They're climbed. The Athletics have just dropped into the cellar. The Royals are next, then the Nationals, and then the Reds.
Well, the Athletics dumped off all their players after the end of last season. They had a pretty good team last year. They almost made the playoffs.
How do they survive? I mean, we've all seen the movie Moneyball. They've been doing this for a long, long time, but yet they're surviving, I guess. But I don't know how much longer that lasts.
No, their crowds this year have been awful. I mean, I've seen pictures of games where there might be less than 2,000 people there. They're in the middle of this big political battle of either trying to force their way to get a new stadium built closer to San Jose, or B, moving to Las Vegas. And something's going to have to give in the next year or two, because it can't continue the way they're playing now. They've got that stadium there all to themselves since the Raiders left. but it's an old stadium, and they need to either get a new place closer to the south in the Bay Area or move to Vegas.
Everybody wants to get to Vegas, man. That's so funny because back in the day, that was a big no-no. No one allowed there, no sports, not allowed, nothing. And now you've got the NFL there, you've got hockey there, you've got all kinds of sports that go there for events. The National Finals Rodeo is there for 10 days in December. Las Vegas is a big-time sports mecca, and I'm not talking about the big-time boxing events. I'm talking about these teams now.
Well, yeah, I mean, 2 conferences play their conference tournaments there, 2 or 3 maybe. College basketball goes there in November, December for these events, like Indiana's going there in December to play. The NBA, which is considering expansion, is going to add 2 teams, and one is going to be in Seattle, and the other one's probably going to be in Vegas. So put a baseball team there and let Pete Rose be the manager. How about that?
You know what? And you brought that up. Is Pete Rose ever, with all the stuff that keeps changing, that they keep allowing, and yada, 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 and it's kind of like Reggie Bush. Are those guys ever going to be kind of forgiven not by us or whomever? I think Pete Rose should be in the freaking Hall of Fame as a player. But are they ever going to get past this higher than thou mentality?
Well, Pete Rose is different than the steroids guys. I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame with a line on his plaque saying was suspended from baseball for gambling on the game or whatever, because
as a manager, yeah. As a
manager. And
because he's not going in as a manager. So to me, it's 2 different completely things.
Right. And they should do it before much more time passes because he's not getting any younger. And
mid to late 70s.
Oh, he's probably late 70s if I had to guess. But he was a star player on one of the 5 greatest teams in baseball history, probably the 76 Reds. So he needs to be recognized. And I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. It's just a sign of how different the culture is, that when that team was around, Pete Rose was not only one of the best players in baseball, he's one of the most recognizable athletes in America. I mean, at the time, it was baseball players were, the standard bearers for American sports culture. And it's not that way anymore. I mean, now you got Aaron Judge or Mike Trout or Shohei Ohtani, but they're not who kids talk about. Kids talk about LeBron and Steph Curry and Lamar Jackson and Tom Brady, and baseball players have lost their spot. So I'd like to see Pete Rose honored for that too. Back in the day, he and Seaver and Willie Mays and all those dudes, they were baseball.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the one thing as a kid, that was my first real taste of sports, of having a sports team. The Reds, the Big Red Machine, Johnny Bench, Cesar Geronimo, Tony Perez,
Joe Morgan,
all these Hall of Famers, Ken Griffey, George Foster. Just the talent was crazy, but yeah, it was just fun going up to that crappy Riverfront Stadium. That this heat reminds me of that right now, because let me tell you, going to Riverfront Stadium on a day like today was typical, and it was a hot box. It was just an oven, big circular cookie cutter stadium with AstroTurf. You talk about miserable in on the river in July and August. How about that?
I once went to a 4-game Reds-Dodgers series for all 4 games back in the day when the Dodgers were really good in the late part of the 70s, and the Big Red Machine was still decent, not as good as they were. And the place would be sold out all 4 games.
That was a rivalry. That was a great rivalry.
Yes, it was. What'd they draw? Like high 40s to low 50s? What'd that place hold? It was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
And the heat, it felt like the heat was like just contained inside that thing. And then the players
they had a roof. Didn't they have a
overhang?
Yes, and it did keep it in. I was like, dang. But
and even those awful seats way in the back in center field in the upper deck, man, people would be sitting out there. And they were all red seats.
It would have been nice if they would have had a customary stadium, a more of, well, was it Crosley Field? It was in Cincinnati. Is that where?
Yeah.
More of the old style stadium, a little more airy. Even now, I wish that when they built the Great American Ballpark, they could have given it a little bit more of a old baseball stadium flavor. I'm surprised more people don't do that. But whatever. It is what it is. What's been going on with you? What have you been up to?
This week Kenny Payne and his assistant coaches did a event at the KFC Center for season ticket holders, and about 2,000 of them showed up downtown on Monday night, and they took questions from the crowd about different things and, trying to rally the troops moving forward. He mentioned that Mike Woodson and Penny Hardaway had both called him about playing this year, but he told them, yeah, of course you want to play because we're not going to be very good. I'll play you, but it'll be in a couple of years. So we're going to have to wait a couple of years for an IU-Louisville game, but it sounds like that will happen. And Louisville-Memphis rivalry will be brought back, hopefully, which is great because that used to be a fantastic game on the calendar.
Absolutely. And I understand his thoughts there. It's like, hey, man, let me get my feet set. And I would do the same thing. It's kind of like
he's only got 9 players, man. They've only got 2 guards on the roster. He still needs to find some more guys for next year.
Yeah, and they're still waiting to see if they can get DeJuan Wagner in the fold.
That's for the following year, yeah, but they're pushing for DeJuan Wagner and a couple of other guys on that AAU team. And it's a big weekend for Louisville anyway, is that although nobody ever confirms anything, we have been told and believe that the university's representatives are headed to Los Angeles this weekend for their hearing in front of the NCAA IARP committee, where the NCAA people will make their case and Louisville will make its final case. And a 5-person panel will listen to it and should have a decision within 4 months. So by October, Louisville should know what their penalty is for the allegations they faced in the pay-for-play scandal. And
how long ago was that now? Is this 3 years ago that happened or 4?
It was 1927.
Is this
2017, man? It's 5 years.
Wow. See, I'm like, what are they going to do? There's nothing they can really do to Louisville at this point because everybody you're affecting had nothing to do with it. None of the players, none of the coaches, none of the admins, and I'm not advocating for Louisville.
Well, right. It's systematic of how the NCAA is flawed.
But they should be punished as the problem, because I look back at Indiana on I'll always go back to that deal with Kelvin Sampson and him making the phone calls, a rule that was changed the very next year, but it decimated Indiana's program. It was just crazy.
And Indiana reported itself. I mean, it wasn't like an NCAA investigation or some kind of investigative reporters. Indiana's infractions department or compliance department self-reported it and ended up, that was a really good team that year with Eric Gordon and DJ White, and it ruined that end of that season. And then all the players left, and we all know what's happened since then. But for Louisville, this is the 4th coach since that happened. It's been Patino, Padgett, Mack, and now Payne. It's the 3rd athletic director. It went from Jurich to Vince Tyre, now to Josh Hurd. None of the players are still here. So, I mean, like, if you had some players on Louisville team, they probably don't even know what you're talking about. What happened? They don't know.
While Louisville deserves to be punished, what in the world could the NCAA possibly do, though, that's going to have any fairness to them?
I don't know. This is a mystery because the IARP is a new, like a sidetrack that the NCAA came up with because nobody was happy with the infractions committee, in part because of how slow they were. Well, the IARP is even slower, and there's no appeal. Whatever they rule is it, and it's maddening. It really is. They've only decided one case so far with this group. And NC State, I think, got off fairly lightly. I think they got like a $40,000 fine. They got probation, but they were not banned from the NCAA tournament. And they gave penalties to a couple of coaches who were no longer there. Mark Gottfried got a 1-year show cause, and an assistant coach, I think, got a 5 or 6 year show cause. So that would be the fairest thing. I mean, punish the coaches who were here when that happened.
Which, if that were the case, that would affect Rick Pitino, who is now at Iona. And Kenny Johnson, who is at Lamar. Is it Lamar?
No, he's with Archie at Rhode Island, remember?
Oh, I forgot. He's with Lil Rhodey.
Yep.
Oh, Kenny Johnson's with Lil Rhodey. I did not realize that. Oh, that's interesting.
Who else was that Louisville? Then it was Jordan Fair, who now is, I think he's like an AAU coach or something in Florida, and then David Padgett, who was not involved in any of it and is out of the game and is now a financial planner.
Very interesting that Lil Rhodey hired Kenny Johnson with that still impending. It's kind of like
second job. He's been on. He was at LaSalle, and then
LaSalle was Sean Miller getting the job at Xavier with he has it directly holding over his head as a head coach.
Right.
And that has not been done. That's what if they were to come out with a show cause for him? You know, they're not going to do that since he's in a head coaching position. They're not going to do that. In another situation, maybe they would, but they're not going to give Sean Miller a show cause while he's a head coach at Xavier.
No, I don't think so. I mean, his assistant coach did 90 days in prison. Seth Davis just interviewed him and did a story about it in The Athletic. Book Richardson,
yeah. And
so.
And that's how it usually goes, though. The assistants pay the price. They're trying to hold on to their jobs, to build jobs, to get better jobs, and that means they got to get recruits. And, you know, that meant getting the recruits. Some of them did it, however, as we saw with the investigations.
Yeah, it's like, we need players, get players. I don't want to know about how you did it. Exactly. I don't want you to tell me how you did it, but your job depends on getting players.
Plausible deniability, baby. Plausible deniability.
It goes back to, you can say, to the John Wooden days. That's what went on at UCLA when they had the booster Sam Gilbert, who took care of things. And Wooden basically always said, I don't know anything about it. And maybe he didn't, but things got done that needed to get done.
Yeah, he was the original. He may have been the original that led to that UCLA dynasty. I'm not sure everybody knows that that was a dynasty well funded.
That was something that always was a hot button topic with Bob Knight. He would always talk about the great coaches in college basketball, and he would never mention John Wooden for that reason.
Burned him up. I mean, that's the one thing about Bob Knight. He could not stand people who allegedly cheated, because that's the one thing that he said in his mind he don't need to do. And you can pretty much believe him, because I've heard some of his recruiting pitches. Michael Lewis told me about his visit. He comes to visit, and they're in Knight's office. Michael's parents are behind him. And Knight finally comes in, sits down, and says, well, Michael, what do you think? You think you'd like to play at Indiana? And he says, yeah, I think that would be fun. And he said, Knight just stood up, walked out, slapped him on the back, said, all right, buddy, we'll see you. And out the door he went. And that was it. And he turns around to his parents, and they say, what happened? He goes, I guess I'm going to Indiana. I mean, it was he showed up at someone's house in his hunting gear, right off of out of his Bronco, out of his hunting gear. So yeah, He just said, hey, you're going to come here, you're going to come here, and blah, blah, blah. And I get it. But man, how would he be having a gasket today, blowing a gasket?
Over NIL and all that stuff? Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. Indiana basketball could not, I don't know that they could, I'm not going to say they couldn't survive, but they couldn't thrive with NIL and Bob Knight. I think he would have been so anti, would have prevented players from getting a lot of stuff. And it would have really, I think it would have hurt Indiana twice as badly as it's going to help them now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can not only look at that, you can look at the last part of his career, that when some of the things changed in the basketball world, that Coach Knight didn't really adjust to some of it and embrace it the way that some other coaches did. His success really tailed off after the 92 Final Four, and then, in the late 90s at IU, I don't think they got past the Sweet 16, did they? I don't think they did.
He did not.
94 on.
He won, I think, 7 NCAA tournament games in his last 7 years. He won less NCAA tournament games than Mike Davis won in 2002.
Right. He had, and then there were some bad losses too. There was Pepperdine and Colorado and 2 or 3 other ones that weren't very good. So yeah, it was.
Yep.
Because I think by then, the word was out with some players that you don't want to go there. What you're going to have, that was tougher.
And he was recruiting more outside of the state at that time. Charlie Miller, our friend Charlie Miller, was in, a lot of out of state guys.
Patterson, Luke Jimenez.
Trey Galloway, surgery on a groin surgery, going to be out for 3 months, which is just going to hamper him a little bit. I think that's going to give opportunities to someone like CJ Gunn, more of an opportunity for someone like CJ Gunn, who could be that, I guess, a backup 2 guards.
Right. Now, I didn't go to the All-Star games. Did you?
I ended up not going, but CJ was just a
MVP,
solid 41 points total over both nights, 20 and 21. Just doing what he does. A lot of that was getting to the rim, which is a good sign, but he's going to have to Indiana's going to look to him to potentially be that shooter. And if he can translate that, if that will translate to the college game, he can secure himself some minutes.
Yeah, I think, as we've talked before, I mean, the key, Indiana's going to be good for that, and maybe even very good. The possibility of them becoming better than that is going to depend on, either Bates or Geronimo or Galloway or Leal or Gunn or Schifino of, taking a step up and giving them something that they haven't had, which is more of a scoring threat, a shooting threat at one of the guard or wing positions. They got to have that. They got to have somebody at the 2 and that's where they got to improve. The 2 and 3. The 2 and 3 have to be better. They have to either learn to, shoot the ball consistently, or like be a guy who can beat you off the dribble and get to the rim and either score or get fouled, or pass the ball, dump it off to Trace Jackson Davis. There were too many games last year where there was just Kopp and Stewart weren't good enough. They were stagnant and they were just catch and shoot. And when they weren't hitting, they weren't contributing.
Yeah, that 3 spot to me is the spot. I mean, I think that Jalen Hood-Schifino is going to be able to step in and be fine. I think that CJ will be a worthy backup until you get Galloway back. But that 3 spot, Miller, Kopp, Bates, Geronimo, 3 very different guys with 3 very different skill sets right there. Can Miller, Kopp be productive this year with some less pressure? I think there's going to be less pressure on him to be. The last year was a lot of expectations, and this year I think those expectations are gone because he didn't produce. And we're like, well, if he does, great. So maybe having less pressure will help him. But also, there's more talent around everybody. Everybody's got more talent around him. Xavier's got more talent around him. I think having Jalen Hood-Schifino next to him is going to be huge. So I agree. I don't know how good this team can be, but there's no reason they can't be pretty daggone good.
Yeah, I think Kopp would be better off the bench. You're playing against lesser guys coming off the bench. You're coming in to provide a spark, and shoot the ball. And he got his chance last year as a starter the entire season. And he was okay, but, not good enough to be an elite team. The other guys have much more room for growth and improvement. I mean, Bates has only played 1 year. Geronimo has played 2, but hasn't gotten a ton of minutes. Galloway, to me, it has a skill set that the other guys don't have, is that he's a great driver and passer. Needs to cut down on his turnovers and improve his shot, but he's got the ability to drive the ball. So, Kopp's a fifth-year guy. You know who he is. It's very unlikely he's going to make a big jump forward. We're likely to see a jump from some of these other guys.
I agree. What's coming up next for you, Rick?
I'll just be waiting on this U of L hearing, and I don't know, not really. It's kind of a dead part in the season. I'll be watching the U.S. Open like everybody else, and following some baseball. Louisville fell short of getting the College World Series, but I will watch that because I'm intrigued by the Notre Dame story.
Oh, it's amazing to me. A team that far north able to do this.
Yeah.
That would be, if they were able to go win this.
Number 1 team in the country from the best league in the country.
Exactly.
On their own field.
That was.
They did it in a very impressive way. They came in there the first game and stunned them. They punched them in the nose right off the bat. We're legit. You're not going to punk us.
I would have pulled a Lee Corso. Take the picture, pull the team up, take the picture. We're out of here.
Their biggest concern is keeping their coach. He's only been there 3 years. He's really good. He played at Florida State, and Florida State just fired its coach. So I think they're very worried that FSU's going after their coach, because we saw yesterday that Michigan, which has been one of the better programs in the Big Ten, just lost its coach to Clemson. So, it's tough for those Big Ten schools that are good. We all know what happened to IU. I mean, Tracy had a great run and went to the College World Series. Bang, he goes to Arizona State. Lamonis kept it going, did really well. Bang, he goes to Mississippi State and wins the national title. Now they're depending on Jeff Mercer to get it going. And I thought it was impressive this week. Indiana had 2 players named second team freshman All-American. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And they had 3 from another.
3 from another group. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they've got a great core of young talent. I was just sitting there thinking, are they going to be able to keep these guys?
Right.
Because man, you talk about it from a hitting standpoint, man, you're breaking records that we're talking Sam Travis and Kyle Schwarber. Those are big time names, man. So Jeff they had a good team, and then it kind of hit a lull during COVID, it seems, but now the recruiting must be going very well.
Right.
Because you're right.
Get those arms, man. Got to get those arms. And you're right. You got to hold on to those guys, because we all know the way the world works, that there's going to be warm weather programs are going to say,
I didn't even think about that now with the transfer portal. I was thinking about losing them to going pro early. I forgot about that.
They can't go pro. In baseball, you got to stay 3 years.
3 years. Yeah, I was wondering. I thought that was the case.
No, the bigger concern would be some SEC program saying, hey, we can come down here and play in warm weather all year long and in front of 5,000 fans, and we're going to go to the College World Series.
Not only that, the SEC probably has plenty of baseball players that have NIL deals of sorts.
I'm sure they do.
It's going to be very difficult to get an NIL deal for a baseball player at Indiana. Just going to say.
Yeah.
And
we got Race Thompson talking to us today at 3:00. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, looking forward. We'll hear from him, and we'll have that for you tomorrow. So, and we'll start. Looks like we're going to start getting some players over the summer. So that's good, as they're in practicing together. They're all together now. Everybody's there. So looking forward to hearing from that. Rick, I cannot thank you enough as always, man. I appreciate you so much.
All right. Thanks for rescheduling me. I'm sorry I couldn't make it yesterday.
Hey, buddy, anytime. Make sure you give Rick a follow and follow his everything he puts out at WDRB.com. He is one of the best sports writers in America. We'll be back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located right off of I-65. down there. Pizza, burgers, beer. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore Honda.
I wish instead of you going long with your guests, you would split them up into 2 segments more often like you do with Mike DeCourcy.
Well, Mike DeCourcy stays 2 segments.
Well, that's essentially what these people do when you go long with them.
Well, I don't always intend to go that long, but yeah. Just send me a text to do that.
Okay.
To remind me of that. Because that at first I'll say, oh, no, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
Because I noticed once I popped in, I was like, shoot, now he's getting into Indiana basketball stuff where he's not going to go to break.
You can still always edit those into separates, you know?
What do you mean?
Separate. If you wanted to do a separate clip from in a clip.
Oh yeah, that's not what I'm talking about.
I get you though, but yeah. Just send me a text to remind me on those cases. I mean, because
we're obviously just skipping over the 5th break today. So what we're gonna do, we're a little early for Chris right now, but he'll just
cool. Come back early and I'll just start talking. I need some coffee. Holy crap!
You got 2 minutes.
Oh. I can't make coffee in 2 minutes.
30 seconds.
Or from Remax Advanced Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in you getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty at Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com or 317-298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. How you doing on this Thursday? It is June 16th. We are on the backside of June. The last 2 weeks of the first half of this year. I can't believe it. How's everybody doing today? Appreciate everybody hitting us up on the Andy Moore Honda hotline. Don't forget about our friends from Remax Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. It could be the difference between you getting the home you want and not. Reach out to her at IndyHomePros.com. And if you're in the southern Indiana area, down by Louisville, New Albany, Floyd, Harrison, Clark counties, in that area, make sure you turn to Barber Pop Realty Services. They've got you covered. Whether it's a first home or a dream home, reach out to Matt Lincoln. Matt at barbarapop.com. Pop with 2 P's. Hey, it's the U.S. Open has started, and I wish I was playing there and not here, because it's going to be a little bit warmer here. T-Boy asking if JTP, if you've got your Nickelback tour tickets. Are they on tour?
I don't know if he's joking or if they're actually on tour. I haven't been keeping up with it if they are on tour or going on tour.
I'm starting to fear we're becoming a Nickelback information outlet, and that's a scary thing. It worries me. Yeah, I would listen to the one song and it would be it. I would leave. But that's okay. Tim said he worked with Barbara Pop when he was a part-time realtor 10 years ago. Well, good. Make sure you reach out to them if you ever need their services, because they support us and support those who support those that you follow, like the Wild Club and all of its restaurants and places of business under it. They are an IU Athletics, a proud partner of IU Athletics, and a partner of ours. As Chris Denari joins us, voice of the Indiana Pacers, fresh off of his failed attempt to qualify for the U.S. Open.
You caught me eating breakfast.
A worthy effort, though. A worthy effort. I think he was the last man to not make the cut.
Yeah, missed too many par putts, right?
Yeah, that's how it usually goes. I played 3 holes yesterday.
Oh,
I did not complete 3 holes. That's not accurate. 2 3/4, I guess.
I had an offer to play yesterday at Sagamore, which is a great course in Noblesville, but I had a prior speaking engagement at noon.
That was air conditioned. I bet it was air conditioned.
Absolutely. Broad Ripple Sertoma Club. Absolutely great group. I didn't feel bad hitting my response and say, hey, I have a prior commitment today. And my buddy that wanted me to play, his note was, well, it's not going to rain. And I said, well, so you played 3 holes.
Almost 3. I was going to visit a friend. I live right off of the 16T. So I'm like, I'll just play and he lives at the in the middle of the 18th fairway. So I'm like, I'll just play my way to him.
That's a great way to do it.
It was. And yeah, I got to my approach shot to the green for 18, which was, I was about 200 yards out, and took 2 shots at it with a 3-wood. And I'm like, yeah, I need to go see Charlie. That's enough.
Did you have a couple of Indiana Sports Beat logos on the ball so it was advertising for those balls that you didn't go pick up?
That's a great idea, because if I did that, my advertising would be out of this world. It would be everywhere.
Well, I am playing today. I've got what I call a charity double dip. I'm playing at Anderson Country Club in the Ascension St. Vincent Kids Classic. Brian Hammonds, formerly of the Golf Channel, puts it on. It's a great event that I've played in year after year after year. Carl Erskine, I think, started it many years ago, and then Sandy Patty was a part of it. And then I'm going to beeline it down to the Columbia Club, and I'm the MC for an event, Indiana Youth Services Association event, that it's all about make good decisions. And there's a family, a couple here in Carmel, who lost their son to alcohol 10 years ago at a graduation party. And they helped create with Senator Jim Merritt the Lifeline law that I think we all know about, that if somebody's underage and there's a problem, you can make a call and not get in trouble. So I'm going to play golf in the heat this afternoon in Anderson, and then race back to the Columbia Club in downtown Indianapolis to help raise money for a great cause.
Well, that sounds wonderful, and thank you for your service. And I'm sure one of those people appreciate you as we do. Have you been keeping up with the NBA Finals?
Yeah, game 6 tonight to see if Boston can force a game 7. It's been interesting to see this series that when you look at the final scores, they don't appear to be close, right? They're usually about 10 or it's a double-figure deficit, but they are close up until, maybe the end of the game when one team goes on a run. And a double-digit lead is not significant in this series because we've seen both Boston and Golden State put together huge runs and huge rallies. So you can imagine the TD Garden is going to be electric tonight in support of that Boston team.
Yeah, and I think they can get that win, but they're not going to win this series. And I think that they lost this series in game 4 when they could have gone up 3-1. They had an incredible opportunity, and man, when they gave that one away and let them come back 2-2 and then down 3-2, I'm like, it's over. They may force game 7, but it's over.
I think
they actually had a chance to beat these guys.
Yeah, and you look at it, when does Steph Curry go 0 for 9 from 3-point range, and yet the Warriors have enough to beat you? Andrew Wiggins has been sensational in this series, and you can see why they wanted him. They picked him up a couple of years ago when they didn't make the playoffs. I mean, Klay Thompson was out, Curry had been out, Draymond Green was a shell of himself a couple of years ago. He had battled some injuries, and so Wiggins was really the long play. Even though they got him in the short term, they thought if we can pair him with the Splash Brothers, with Draymond Green, and with all we're doing, and he's proving to be a very valuable player right now for Golden State.
Looking forward to that continuing. Like you said, game 6 tonight. It's been fun, but yeah, you're right. The scores, you can't look at those end scores because they're fighting, they're battling, and these games are going to be close until they're not. But
and so tonight could be the end of this season. We know that if there is a game 7, it'll be Sunday. And then really we start looking ahead. In fact, we're already looking ahead to the new season. Of course, the Pacers, the draft is next Thursday. I was in the practice facility on Monday and Tuesday, watched AJ Griffin work out, the freshman from Duke. And then Tuesday, Jim, I had a chance to see Johnny Davis work out. And had a chance to meet him. Members of the media, we were able to talk to him. He's a guy that, I'm sure the viewers and the listeners here know all about him, what he did at Wisconsin, especially in games against Purdue and Indiana. I mean, he's a guy, Jim, that as a freshman averaged 7 points a game, and then this year averaged almost 19 per game. So he took a huge climb, and he's still young, and you wonder what that ceiling is. He's a hard worker, shoots it well. So he'll be somebody that will definitely be in the mix. I think a lot of people project him more in the 7 to 10 range, but we just don't know what's going to happen at the top end of the draft. And he is somebody that I'm sure the Pacers are considering.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of a Ja Morant-esque type player, lots of scoring. Don't know which direction the Pacers are going to go. You've got Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray in there. Keegan Murray.
Murray. Yeah.
Too many Murrays. And he's got a brother. Yeah. And he's got a brother. But yeah, it's just we kind of think we know a window at least which direction they're going. But next Thursday, before the draft, you're going to tell us who they're going to pick, right?
Yeah. I think the Pacers have a massive whiteboard in their draft room, and I'm going to guess it has 10 to 15 scenarios with what they think will happen as far as the teams above them, what they're hearing as far as trades are concerned. I would not be surprised to see the Pacers be aggressive in a trade to potentially pick up another first-round pick, just like they did last year. I mean, I've told people, Jim, that we have to let it play out. But I think the 21 draft was a good one for the Pacers when you think that they were picking 13, and they got Chris Duarte, who I think is going to be an excellent pro. He averaged 13 points last year as a rookie. They got Isaiah Jackson with a second first-round pick at 23. I think he's a definite rotational player in the league. And then when the draft was over, they immediately signed Dwayne Washington Jr. Out of Ohio State. And, again, we can talk about how difficult the season was and you had to play all these young guys. But Dwayne Washington Jr. was a guy that got plenty of experience this year. So they have 3 guys from last year's draft that all are rotational players. And if you can add a couple, you're going to get one at number 6. Maybe you get another one somewhere in the first round. All of a sudden, in a 2-year span, you've added 5 young players on really good contracts to your roster. And if you look at teams that have made the move in the NBA the last few years to go from just where the Pacers were this past year, 25 or so wins, Memphis, Cleveland, and they've done it through the draft with multiple picks. So I'm sure that's something that's swirling around Kevin Pritchard and the front office's thoughts is, we know we're growing this. How quickly can we grow it? And do we need to go out and get another good young player?
Yeah, and the options are, once you hit that 5th spot, which is where Detroit is, that's where the mystery just starts.
Yeah.
And it goes down. I mean, I'm looking at one potential Dyson Daniels, who's a shooting guard, projected there possibly. Jeremy Sochan from Baylor, projected possibly to the Pacers. Big 6'9", a very, very talented guy. And then you've got Murray as well. Along with AJ Griffith that you talked about. So it's just, but it's a mix. What do the Pacers need mostly right now?
Yeah, I think the question is, in a draft, do you take need or you take best player available? And I think sometimes when you go need, you can make a mistake. I think in this day and age, Jim, when you look at all of these teams and the successful teams, you have just a lot of talented wings, a lot of people that can create their own shot, that are 3-and-D type guys. Benedict Mathurin out of Arizona is a guy that I think is going to be in that mix too. He's definitely in the top 6 or 8. The question is there a surprise at the top? Does somebody go for Shaedon Sharpe early, in the top 4? Because if that happens, and if Dyson Daniels goes in the top 4 or 5, then that really changes who's available at number 6, because then all of a sudden you've got a lot more players available at 6 than maybe you thought, because a couple of guys are taken maybe a little higher than what many people think their ceiling is.
Shaedon Sharpe, one of the bigger mysteries in the draft, has a great pedigree, but he was the number 1 recruit in his class before enrolling at Kentucky. But no one has seen him play since he played on the EYBL circuit. Has he worked out for any teams?
What's happened for a number of these players is they do work out, but it's on their terms. I think the Pacers, Jaden Ivey will not be coming to Indianapolis, but the Pacers have been able to see Jaden Ivey work out, directed by his agent, probably, I think, out in LA. So a lot of those guys do that. And what you have to understand about this is we didn't know a lot about LaMelo Ball, right? We knew about Lonzo Ball, and we'd heard all these things about LaMelo Ball, and he played in Australia. He's turned out to be a really, really good player for the Charlotte Hornets. So sometimes you can't just put stock in who we've all seen and who we've all heard about. And that's why it really comes down to your scouting department and what you're able to do in evaluating these players, whether they've got the big name or their name isn't, something that most people have heard about.
Yeah, absolutely. And the mystery is Johnny Davis projected could be all the way down to 13.
Yeah.
You just, again, like you mentioned, taking the best player, I agree, is always the best way to go over need, because talent is talent and you can do other things.
Well, you can also,
fill that in.
As you said, you can also, if you take the best player and you feel like you have a player at that position, and maybe you feel that player is not as good as the one you're going to draft, you've always got the trade opportunity, right? And I think where the Pacers are in this offseason, from a salary cap standpoint, they're in great shape. They can absorb contracts. They can go out in free agency. Tyrese Halliburton's he's your guy that you're really starting to build around. He's in his third year. He's on his rookie deal. You have a lot of young players that at this point are not making that much money. So it gives you some options. It gives you some flexibility. And that'll be something to watch in the next week.
Yes, it will. Man, it's too hot for golf.
Yeah.
How's that country song go? Too hot for golf, too hot to fish. And
I'm not all, I say this, and I know you love to play too. I'm really not all that excited today. I'm excited to go meet people and see people. But I guess the positive is I told Brian and I told the people that I'm going to have to skate out of there a little early. Shotgun start is at noon. I need to be in downtown Indianapolis by about 6:15. So I will try to avoid the heat as much as I can today.
I spent most of my time in the clubhouse yesterday talking.
That's a great place.
And watching the U.S. Open stuff. I'm like, I have no interest in it, but I'm like, it's the U.S. Open though. I will throw up one question here. Someone was asking, are the Pacers shopping Brogdon and Turner for a trade?
You've heard that. I don't know, what they're going to do. Some people would say, now that you have Tyrese Halliburton, is there room for somebody like Malcolm Brogdon? In Malcolm's defense, he was traded for a couple of years ago to sort of build the team around him and for him to be the leader. And with all the injuries that took place last year, Brogdon didn't play late in the year. Turner didn't play late in the year. The team really morphed into Tyrese Halliburton's team. So I thought at times, and again, we just didn't see it very much, that Brogdon and Halliburton played pretty well together. The question is, we've never seen Miles Turner with Halliburton. Halliburton played 25 or 26 games with the Pacers. Turner missed all of those. But I'm intrigued by that. When you make the trade of Domantas Sabonis and you keep Miles Turner, you're sort of saying, hey, Miles, you're the guy. But I think all things are on the table. We'll just have to wait and see next week.
Looking forward to it, man. Chris, and enjoy all of your endeavors you have coming up, a lot of them, and stay cool.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Chris Denari, the voice of the Indiana Pacers. Looking forward to much more coming up next. Sharon Wilkerson, former IU player, now coach at Jeffersonville High School, joins us. Brought to you by our good friends at Remax Realty and Barbara Pop Realty Services. Make sure if you're in the Indianapolis area looking for a home, reach out to Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. If you're down in the southern Indiana area near Louisville, Barbara Pop Real Estate Services. Matt Lincoln, Matt at BarbaraPop.com. Coming up next, Sharon Wilkerson. Back with that right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington.
All right. Sharon got back to me earlier, so he should be joining us on time.
Whenever someone comes on using their phone, which he will be doing, make sure they turn it sideways.
I'll let him know as long as we're not in the middle of a segment. If he joins us before we come back. Excuse me.
And I think that that Roadcaster 2 also has the ability to back talk.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Here we go. You with us, Sherron?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, if you're able, you don't have to do this if you don't know how to do it, but if you rejoin, you can add a photo to your little bubble. If you have a photo of yourself you'd like to put in there, that would be great.
You say the little bubble where you see
or if your camera, you can probably just turn your camera on. There you go.
There you go.
Now turn your phone sideways. Boom.
Perfect.
How about that?
That looks great.
Oh, that's wonderful.
How are you, man?
I'm wonderful, fellas. How are you guys?
Congratulations, first of all.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
How many years you been coaching high school now? I was trying to look it up.
So, let me see here. I think it's been almost about 10 years.
I was thinking that exact thing.
Yeah, right at 10 years. Sometimes I forget. I forget what I did yesterday, guys. I'm getting old.
Oh, dude.
Back in 30 seconds. All right, here we go.
Event. Get 0.99% APR financing for well-qualified buyers on all 2017 through 2021 Honda certified pre-owned Accords, Civics, CRVs, HRVs, and Pilots. See dealer for financing deals. Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back on this Thursday, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Feast Market and Cellar, part of the Wow Club, place where you can get incredible selection of wine, gourmet sandwiches, cheeses, and all part of the Wow Club. Joined now by Sharon Wilkerson, a former Indiana player, and now a veteran, a decade of being a high school coach in the state of Indiana. Sharon, how are you, man?
Doing wonderful. How are you guys?
Great. Sharon is one of my favorite people. I love having on. He is a guy that if you want to look up perseverance and self-dedication and self-improvement, look up that and you will find Sharon Wilkerson, who every time I talk to him, I leave so impressed. Thanks for joining us, brother. I appreciate you. Congratulations on getting the job at Jeffersonville High School as head coach, basketball coach there.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, my friend. It's been an absolute unbelievable welcoming. I think it's always any high school kid's dream, specifically in the state of Indiana, to be able to coach at your alma mater. So for me personally, this has been a dream come true.
Well, that's not just any alma mater. I mean, I went to Floyd Central, and they're Jeffersonville, part of in our conference. It was Jeffersonville's 2,000 student school. They are good at athletics. Ron led them to a state championship. This is one of the plum jobs in the state. As a matter of fact, it is a job that Mike Broughton held, who is currently held what is in charge of the All-Star game.
That is great.
So it's just one of those big time jobs, but it's also, I love seeing this thing coming full circle. You start out at a small school, Madison Shaw, then Madison, then Logansport, and now you're home. How incredible is it to be back at where you went to high school as the head coach?
No, Jim, I'll be honest. It's surreal. Obviously, I know it's cliche-ish, but it is. So that, no, Jim, we won that state championship, my friend, and it's so many components that have to be just right. It's so many things that have to happen. Obviously, since coming back, that has been the big mantra. State championship, state. Yes, obviously, that is always our goal. But it's really difficult. It's a lot more difficult than I think than most realize. Right. I think the existence of our school is around 130, 135 years, and it's been done one time on both sides, the boys and the girls, which for me puts it in perspective of how difficult it really is to win a state championship. So obviously the excitement is here. Now we got a lot of work ahead of us, my friend.
expectations for when you hear the name Sharon Wilkerson coming back to Jeff, that's going to put some expectations, I would think, on Jeffersonville.
So it definitely is the it's the standard, right? I mean, it's as a fan, former player, you want excellence, you expect the best. So from that aspect, I wouldn't necessarily call it pressure as much as motivation, if you will. Definitely, you want to make sure you put your best foot forward, and we're in a position now where we're coming in and we're changing the culture. We're doing things a little bit differently than they typically have. And Jim, I'll be honest with you, the transition is hardest on the kids. So for me, it's my duty to come in and make sure that I earn everybody's trust and make sure that we start leading this program back in the right direction.
Jeffersonville down in the very southern part of the state, across from Louisville, down there with New Albany High School, Floyd Central, a very strong basketball area. As we know, you've had Pat Graham come out of Floyd Central to play for Indiana. You had Romeo Langford out of New Albany, of course, yourself out of Jeffersonville. And those schools are always battling. Floyd Central just went through a coaching change. I think they finally hire a coach?
I think they did. I think they finally just recently named a guy, and I don't know the guy. I believe he was an assistant at North Harrison High School, but I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure what his name is. But yeah, Floyd Central is a wonderful program. So they're always in the mix, Jim.
And then we got Lance Stemler, who is a former IU player, on the Providence staff, which is also right there in Clarksville together.
That is correct. Now, I'm really close with the Providence staff, Coach Miller and those guys. They are one of the best staffs in the state of Indiana, Jim. Wonderful, wonderful people. I mean, even better coaches. Just an absolute unbelievable group of guys. And obviously, I'd like to take this moment to give them a congratulations on their state championship. Well-deserved.
Yeah, how about that? Providence winning a state title last year. Lance Stemler on that staff, former IU player. You need to get with those guys. I'm trying to get Lance to get a team together to play. And Jordan Hulls has a golf scramble here on the 23rd. And so and Lance was trying to put a team together. So I need to get you up there with those guys. That would
absolutely love to, Jim. Would love to, my friend.
I'm going to send that text to Lance when we get done. Say, hey, Sherron wants to play with you guys.
Yes, sir.
So what's it been like going down? What was the first thing you had to do when you got the job? Well, first thing, when you found out you were getting the job, what emotions? You were up at Logansport. What was that like?
Man, wonderful, wonderful community, wonderful people. Jim, I'll be honest, I never had any intentions on leaving Logansport. And then obviously when I got the call from Jeffersonville, I'll be honest, it was bittersweet, really. Because on one part, I genuinely felt like it was my duty to come back to Jeffersonville. You know, it's my home, right? And I think even from a state perspective, I think that people know the love that I have for Jeffersonville. It gave me the foundation to be able to do the things that I'm doing in my coaching career today. So it was very important in my life. So to be able to go back home and to lead that program, again, I can't put it into words, but the reception has been a lot more warming than I ever anticipated. Obviously, I think we all know that we have some supporters, but in this day and age, you always have some people that's going to see things differently, if you will. But it's been an overwhelming, positive welcome, and it's just. I'll be honest. When I very first got the job, obviously it was some tears. It's overwhelming. I mean, it's a lot of emotion. Something that's been so important in your life. So to finally be able to be re-embraced, if you will, it's unbelievable.
Well, I don't know if I know anybody that has worked harder to make that come full circle. A question here, you'd have to be in Southern Indiana to understand this one, but he's asking if Sharon visited and I always pronounce it incorrectly. I always say Nanchon Fieldhouse.
Nahan. Yeah.
Nahan Fieldhouse. This place, go back and watch Hoosiers and find one of those gyms that was like a cage. That is this place. I remember playing league basketball there, but my funnest story there is the old coach at Floyd Central, Joe Hinton. got 5 technical fouls in a game there before they could get him out. 5 people. You only get 2 before you're kicked out. He managed to get 5. I loved him. He was off the court. He's the nicest guy in the world, but on the court, he was Bob Knight reincarnated.
That is correct. That is Bobby Knight Jr. Yeah, Bobby Knight Jr. in the flesh. Yes.
That's why Pat Graham had no problems when he came to. He had 0 issues. Like, I had Joe Hinton for a coach. Are you kidding me?
That's you got transition. Easy transition. Yeah.
Did you got to play against him?
I got to play. Coach Hinton was the coach at Floyd Central when I was at Jeffersonville. One of the greatest basketball minds that ever coached the game of basketball, and I genuinely mean that. Fierce competitor, obviously. Just a very fiery guy. Coach Hinton's one of those guys, Jim, that I truly believe he could coach in any decade and be successful. He understands the game to that level. So he is, he's definitely one of the forefathers that really set the stage for Southern Indiana basketball.
Well, not to turn this into that, but Floyd Central opened up in '67, and he got the job, and then within 4 years they were at the Final Four. So yeah, it was pretty fun. 5 Left says, "Hey, it's Sherron. What's up? It's Milton saying hey to you."
Hello, how are you, buddy?
And yeah, a lot of, and I mentioned, Floyd Central just lost a great coach with Todd Sturgeon leaving. New Albany has had Jim Shannon for a long time. I don't know how much longer that's going to be going because, he's been there like 20 plus years.
Sorry, Jim, go ahead, buddy.
No, I'm just going to say, not that I'm trying to get him out of there.
No, Coach Shannon is a legend, Jim. He's done some wonderful things at New Albany and for their program and the community. And beyond that, he's just a wonderful man. So, for me, it's a little bit difficult for me because, I look up to these guys and I look at Coach Shannon as a legend. So for me, I truly believe that, a legend can stay for as long as they want. He's done so many good things for the students and the student athletes there and the community. And again, he's a pillar. He's one of the guys that has helped me in my career, Jim. So it's easy for me to be a huge supporter of Coach Jim Shannon.
He's a great guy and very successful, as a matter of fact, as well. Indiana basketball. I know you've been very busy with all the things that you're working on. We just finished up the All-Star game. CJ Gunn, MVP of that, going to IU. And they have a great recruiting class, top 5 recruiting class coming in. Trace Jackson Davis coming back. They're in pretty good position next year.
They're in a really, really good spot. Obviously I've had a lot going on, Jim, but the next thing on my agenda is to reach out to Coach Woodson and hopefully get an opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with him. He's done a marvelous job of getting Indiana basketball back to what the Indiana fans and the faithfuls are used to seeing. It's been amazing. Been amazing to watch it.
Yeah, I know that they've been very open and wanting players to come back. Is that someone that you could also hopefully reach out to for a coaching mentorship?
I definitely hope to. Obviously, I think we all as coaches have a bucket list, right? And that bucket list is very difficult to accomplish, especially in the game of the coaching profession. It's really competitive. But obviously, my number one dream is to be a Division I head basketball coach. My number two dream is to be the head coach of Jeffersonville High School. So slowly but surely, I've been blessed in the fact that I've been able to accomplish some things that I've set out to do from a personal standpoint. So from that aspect, I don't think that you can ever have too many mentors in learning and understanding what it means to be successful. I think that's the number one reason to being successful is listening to different perspectives and understanding what works and understanding what don't work. And let me say this, Jim, that for me personally, everything that I've been able to do from a success standpoint has been taught to me from wonderful coaches and mentors. So in that regard, I think that you're always learning and always looking for guys. Especially like a guy with Coach Woodson, who's been at every level of coaching that you could potentially be at. So I think that he has a plethora of knowledge that could help any young coach or any veteran coach for that matter, that could help at any level.
Do you still have your notebooks from when you played at Indiana?
I do.
I always ask that question. Every player had notebooks. It was like a class, man. It was a class. Do you ever refer to them? Is there anything you ever look back on in that?
So there are a few things that I look back on specifically from the discipline piece. That was one of the things that Coach Knight was so good at is the discipline and the regimented process that you have to go through in building a program. And that's at any level, Jim, even at the professional level. I mean, man, there's a regimented recipe that you have to follow. And it's a step-by-step process. And if at any point you miss any of the steps, it's difficult to recover, if you will. So from that aspect of it, quite frequently I lean on that because again, he was one of the best at doing that. And for me personally, I take a piece from every coach that I've been under, whether I played for him or worked for him, kind of put it all into one, if you will. And that's kind of how I approach the game.
Well, you've done an absolute incredible job, brother, and I am so happy for you. I'm happy for you to be, because I know what it means to you to be at Jeff High School. It's just that I can imagine that being a dream come true. So congratulations, and I wish you great success, except for one game a year, brother.
Hey, Jim, I get it, my friend. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I don't know why that will never leave me. I don't know why, but it's like New Albany. It's more New Albany. I'm like, hell no. I beat them in anything. I don't care. Beat them. That's the competitor in you, baby. You got to keep it.
That is it right there, my friend.
Well, Sean, I can't wait to see you. Hopefully we can get you up here for that golf outing. That would be awesome. But and if you're coming up to Bloomington to see Coach, please let me know. Look forward to it.
I definitely will, Jim.
But thank you so much for taking time, and good luck. Hopefully we'll talk to you again before the season. But
yeah, I'm looking forward to it, my friend. I always enjoy my time with you. It's an absolute pleasure, my friend.
You are an absolute joy to have, Sherron, and I thank you so much, man. Go out and have a great day. Stay cool.
Yes, Jim, thank you so much, my friend. Talk to you soon.
You bet. Sharon Wilkerson, the head basketball coach at Jeffersonville High School in Indiana, former Indiana basketball player, played under Knight. Received the famous video of receiving the headbutt. If you remember that one, that would still. If you go back and look at that video, just the response, John, you probably can't pull it up quick enough, but the response of Sherron when Knight headbutted him, he just leans back, looks away, and says, "What the hell just happened?" Sherron, one of the greatest guys. I'm telling you, he had some issues early in life, and you talk about a guy who has done a 180 and is one of the most pleasant, courteous people you're ever going to meet and talk to, that does nothing but work hard to be a good person. And I love having him on, and I'm just happy for him and his success. Yeah, what a great guy, man. That really tied the show up today. A full show it was as well. Rick Bozich, Chris Denari, Sharon Wilkerson, don't forget
Jeff Schroeder.
Jeff Schroeder, he wasn't written down. Daggone it. Jeff Schroeder from the golf club at Eagle Point. Man, what a loaded show. And guess what? It doesn't stop. We got more tomorrow. Dylan Sin joins us as always. He'll be with us for the entire program. Alec Lasley of thehoosier.com joins us to get us caught up on the Indiana Basketball Coaches Association Top 100 that is happening this weekend. That is at Brownsburg High School. You can go up to that if you'd like. A lot of talent on display. But thehoosier.com will have complete reports, live streaming of that not streaming, live reports on that as well. You can just go to thehoosier.com. sign up, be a subscriber to thehoosier.com for complete coverage of all that. Zach Osterman also on tomorrow, and Mitchell Page, as we're going to have some fun. Maybe give you some history lessons. Mitchell's always enjoyable. We're going to have a good time. And see what else tomorrow. Oh, we'll have more on the U.S. Open. We'll see who's leading. Last I checked, it was Morikawa, but that was early on. So I want to make sure I get it all wrapped up. Yep. Thanks a lot for everybody on the Andy Moore Honda hotline today. We appreciate you guys. Don't forget, Andy Moore, if you're looking for a vehicle, they've got 1.9% APR financing on certain vehicles. And, of course, everyone from the WOW Network and the WOW Club. Make sure you join. It's a totally free app. Start earning WOW rewards today. Go to your Apple App Store or Google Play Store. All the restaurants underneath that go along with it. Add them up. We're going to have VIP events for you. Cost you nothing, and it's a big help to us, so we appreciate you. And make sure you please, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Hit the like button. To our friends down on the river in Evansville on the ref, 97.7 ESPN. Hope you guys have a great day. And everybody else as well.
We're good.
Thanks to you, to John, and everybody else. I hope you guys go out and have a great day. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I'll see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.